Rain poured heavily that night when David met Anna. She was the new waitress at a small restaurant near his workplace, quiet, soft-spoken, and always wearing a smile that made him forget his worries. David worked as an assistant mechanic, earning just enough to survive. But when he saw Anna, he found something more: peace. They started talking after work. One evening he walked her home under the rain, and their laughter echoed through the wet streets. Days turned into weeks, and soon David and Anna were inseparable. He would bring her snacks from the workshop, and she would sneak him free meals from the restaurant. Love grew between them like wildflowers in a forgotten garden. But things began to change the day Anna told him she was pregnant. She had waited for the right time. She smiled nervously as she handed him a small envelope with the test result. "David," she whispered, "you're going to be a father." For a moment, he froze. His face went pale. "A father," he muttered, stepping back. "Anna, are you sure it's mine?" Her smile vanished. "David, how could you say that? You know I love you." Instead of holding her, he shouted at her for ruining his plans. He told her he wasn't ready, that he had no money, that she should do something about it. But Anna refused. She believed the baby was a blessing, even if David didn't see it that way.
From that day, David changed. He stopped answering her calls, he avoided her at work, and when she came to his house crying one evening, swollen with tears and fear, he told her coldly, "Leave me alone, Anna. I don't want this." Anna left that night, trembling under the same rain that once brought them together. She struggled alone. Her job could barely feed her. Some nights she slept hungry, holding her belly, whispering to her unborn child, "I'll protect you, no matter what." Months passed. Her body grew weak, but her spirit remained strong. One evening when she collapsed by the roadside, a blocked car stopped beside her. A man in his 50s stepped out, Mr. Collins. He helped her up and took her to a nearby hospital. Mr. Collins was known in town, wealthy, powerful, feared. He treated Anna kindly at first, paid her bills, and even visited her often. When she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, he offered her a home. He told her she reminded him of someone he once cared for. Grateful and desperate, Anna accepted his help.
Months later, Mr. Collins asked her to marry him. She hesitated, but she looked at her baby, small, innocent, and smiling. She said yes. Meanwhile, David's life fell apart. After losing his job for constant lateness and drinking, he began living off his uncle, Mr. Collins, the same man he praised as his savior, the one who fed him and gave him shelter when everyone else turned away. But Mr. Collins had grown distant. He sent David on errands, shouted at him for mistakes, and never gave him the respect he once did. David couldn't understand why his uncle's attitude had changed so suddenly, until one Sunday evening. Mr. Collins invited David to help arrange the dining table. The house was filled with laughter, his uncle's laughter, and that of a woman whose voice stirred something deep inside him. When she walked in, holding a little girl, David's world froze. Anna. She looked radiant, nothing like the broken woman he abandoned. Her eyes widened the moment they met his, but she quickly looked away. "David," Mr. Collins said proudly, "meet my wife, Anna." David's hands trembled. His throat went dry. He stared at the small, innocent face that looked exactly like him. His heart pounded. His uncle's wife, his child, his past. That night, David couldn't eat. He locked himself in the guest room, tears burning his eyes. He remembered how he left her in the rain, how he called her names, how he'd destroyed her trust. Days passed, and living under the same roof became torture.
Every morning he saw Anna serving his uncle breakfast, smiling faintly, pretending nothing had happened. His uncle, unaware of the truth, adored her, and the child David knew, was his.
One day, Mr. Collins caught David staring too long. He grew suspicious. "Do you know my wife from somewhere?" he asked sternly. David stammered, "No, sir. She just looks familiar." But Mr. Collins wasn't a fool. He hired someone to investigate, and when the truth came out, his rage was like thunder. He threw David out of the house with nothing but his torn bag. "You betrayed me, David! You lied! You destroyed a woman's life, and you think you deserve pity?" David begged, but the gates closed in his face. He walked through the same streets he once walked with Anna, only now cold, hungry, and alone. He slept under bridges, haunted by the sound of his child's laughter coming from a house he could never enter again. And Anna, though she lived in comfort, her heart carried a quiet ache. She had forgiven David in her heart, but she would never forget. David spent the rest of his days trying to rebuild his life, working menial jobs, always carrying a photo of a little girl he could never call daughter. Sometimes he would stand across the street, watching her play in the garden with Mr. Collins and Anna, tears glistening in his eyes, and every time he whispered the same words to himself. "I lost everything because I couldn't love when it mattered."